going on all my YouTubers, Instagrammers, Rumblers, and Normies out there? Coming at you with another one of my takes where I react to the videos. Today we're going to be reviewing a channel from This Aged Great on YouTube. This guy's definitely got 190k subscribers. Definitely gets a lot of Manbaer love here on the channel because, you know, I've pretty much seen the movies that he's covered on this. Still going and combing through his episodes, like the love letters in, you know, to skateboarding. This is kind of like a love letter to cheesy 80s films, and I do ask that question myself. Did this age great? Today, This Aged Great discussed Revenge of the Nerds, which is basically kind of like a cult classic to me. Kind of like in the same veins as like Porky's, Meatballs, Animal House, all them classics. If you haven't seen them, you should watch them, especially Animal House. That's definitely a staple to where these movies lead to, like especially where you see all the spoof movies with like your National Lampoons when they used to be good. Let's get into it. A lot of people often wondered, you know, because see, I too came from like a form of nerddom, which is basically was like the video game, comic reader, skateboarder type nerd, you know, like outsider. But don't get me wrong, you know, the school systems did try to turn us into like computer nerds, because even in grade school, you know, they had us on ClarisWorks or working on the Apple IIs and trying to get us computer literate. But let's get into the video. You ask me nowadays, man, the nerds didn't know how good they were going to have it in the future, because it's pretty much the nerds that are controlling the world now. Facts.
Revenge of the Nerds is a movie that asks the question, what if terrorism was horny? The world would be a better place. Like, you know, what if on 9/11 they had just pushed the two towers together so that their tips touched? Hot. Is that Tower 2, or are you just happy to see me? Oh, and I hope you don't mind, Building 7 likes to watch. So it's the story of our two heroes, two classic nerds, Gilbert and Lewis. They've got the big glasses.
The blonde guy ended up being Goose in Top Gun.
The pocket protectors.
Yeah.
They laugh like Eddie Murphy. Yeah. They're going to college. They're worried about fitting in, but they're hopeful. They're sweet guys. But then at the football player fraternity, the popular
the
guys,
jocks,
they're having a wild party. The hot cheerleader girls are there. And this guy's like, look at this trick I can do. He's shooting fireballs. Like he takes a swig of high-proof alcohol. He shoots a fireball. The drapes go up. They burn their frat house down.
Oh, fuck.
And then we see throughout the movie that the dean is a nerd, but then he's all...
And then you got freaking, oh, what's his face? Freaking John Goodman, and, you know, one of his first roles that I've seen. Look at how young John Goodman is in this. And then, you know, you'd like to think that, you know, McGinnis was definitely like the you know, if you want to kill a TV series, just hire McGinnis or McGinney, whatever his name is. McSweeney, whatever, you know, Ron McGivney, McGinnis. Yeah, man, just put him in the show and instant cancelization.
He's always with the football coach, played by John Goodman, and he's always bossing the dean around. So he convinces the dean, hey, my guys need a place to stay. Let's kick the freshmen out of their dorm.
Typical freaking like college type move, you know, jocks freaking done screwed up, now they're muscling for rank.
My guys get the freshman dorm, and instead of, I guess, sending them an email, because they didn't have those.
Okay, so isn't this 1983?
Yeah, they didn't.
No, they could have like telephoned them rotary style.
Yeah, they didn't have the technology, so how they do it is they just have the jocks run in and like throw them out the window. So then they make, kind of like refugees, they make all the freshmen
have to live like a refugee. Oh, there's Booger.
And live in the gym on cots.
Yeah.
But they say, look, we're going to change the rule because of this special situation, and the freshmen can now join frats. So you have a place to stay. And everybody gets picked for a frat except for the 10 biggest losers. These are our heroes. This is our team.
Lambda.
Gilbert, right? There's an Asian guy. There's a black gay guy.
Okay.
It's a very diverse group. There's a 10-year-old.
Who's a genius.
He's like a genius.
Oh,
so he's 10.
okay.
There's a guy named Booger.
Yeah.
He's like a short, gross guy. Everyone else in the crew seems
Booger
socially
was a
awkward.
juggalo.
This guy just seems like he had a really bad breakup. Booger is just like depressed, and he picks his nose. And he wears T-shirts that say, like, blow me until you die, or whatever it says. So then this group, who's not accepted, they clean up a house. There's a montage of them making this beat-up house nice.
Dance.
And then they
That's
live
it.
in this house.
Dance.
A rock comes through the window, and they look at the rock, and they're like, what's it say on it? He says, it says, go home, nerds.
Okay.
So then the nerds
snap.
go to the police, and they're like, we had a hate crime. And then the guy behind the counter, the cop, he goes, yeah, I don't know what this world's
O'Malley.
coming to.
Or
We just
O'Leary.
arrested that guy over there for mopery.
A mopery?
And they say, what's mopery? And he says, it's when you expose yourself to a blind person. And the cop's like, this isn't really our department. Go to the Greek council. There's a official council. This is a school thing. So they go to the Greek council. Who runs the
clique.
council but the jocks? And the jocks are
clique.
like, we don't care about what happened because, hey, we did it.
Right, yeah.
And also, you guys can't
Tough
be a
shit.
fraternity because you don't have a national sponsor because they wanted to start their own fraternity for geeks.
Okay.
And then they apply to all the fraternities. Nobody
Yes.
wants them except for the one all
and
black.
this is back when you had to freaking like write fools letters. Wasn't no internet, you know. This is why I kind of like, you know, I'm glad I'm the age that I am because I still remember writing letters to things. You know, writing letters to like comic subscriptions or writing letters to like cereal box tops and getting those things in the mail, the decoder rings. These guys fished out for freaking fraternity love, and they did. They received one. They received it in a freaking what do they call that? HBC. So let's get into this.
Fraternity
HBC
because they didn't
love.
send a picture.
Lambda,
The one guy
Lambda.
is the principal from
Oh,
Bill and
yeah.
Ted's Excellent
It's that
Adventure.
guy
He's like,
from
okay,
Bill
I
and
guess
Ted.
we'll give you a shot. Okay, so they're like, we need to throw a party
totally
to
forgot
impress
about
the
that.
black fraternity so we can gentrify it.
Yeah.
So then they have a party, and there's this one cute, nerdy girl that Gilbert, the other guy, met in a computer
Yeah.
class. And so they're kind of dating. They throw this party,
She kinda
and
looks like
she's
that
like, well, I
chick
can
in
invite my
Coca-Cola,
sorority
Catherine,
sisters,
that I was
the
rapping
Omega
at for a
Moos.
while.
Omega Moos!
And he's like, yeah, bring them over. And the Omega Moos, they're kind of nerds, and they're, I
They're a
guess,
bunch of Melvins,
a little
too.
big.
Okay.
I guess that's the joke.
They
is
sound real big.
They're big ladies, but some
Sandstorm.
of them seem very cool.
Okay.
So the party is going great, but then a bunch of actual
Twigs and
pigs
suicide.
come into the room.
Actual pigs.
Look,
Manbaerpigg.
that's the metaphor.
I'm
I'm not saying it. The jocks are saying it, and then they run out, and the jocks are there on a big truck bed, and they're like, we sent pigs in because the girls at your party are pigs. And what's so funny is for the reaction shot, they don't show the girls that are being called pigs. They just show the guys going, yeah, they kind of are. And this is when the nerds are like, we
Begin
need
to
to do
snap.
revenge. Revenge of the nerds.
They begin to snap and formulate
Their
a
revenge
plan.
is they break into the
Kinda
hot
like
girl
in,
sorority
in
and
Animal House.
they install cameras. And then later they're just sitting on the couch watching the girls.
If this is for the YouTube channel, there's about to be like nude scenes. This was quite common in 80's movies, so geez, don't get triggered. But it's going to be great on my Rumble. Check it out.
Without their knowledge,
Uh-oh.
be naked, and they're sitting on the couch going, we got them.
Show
And this would be a
wing,
horrible thing to do in peacetime,
Nerd
but these nerds are
swings.
at war.
boob swing,
And this
swing,
is the
swing,
most humane possible act of war.
swing.
As an act of war,
Swing,
this
swing.
would be better if we behaved this way. Like when Donald Trump was president, if he got on TV and he was like, Kim Jong-un, I saw his wife's tits. I saw
Why they
him.
call
Beautiful
me
tits.
the Escudo
And if he keeps
Halo
acting up, I'm going back. I'm seeing Bush. We've got the spy planes. We've got the technology. So then they call up the head of the black fraternity, and they're like, "We looked at the girls naked," and then the head of the head of the black fraternity is like, "We like your style. You're in." So now they're in. So they're having a dinner to celebrate that they got into a black fraternity. And then they look outside. The word nerds in flames on the front yard. And they're like, another hate crime against nerds. So then they go back to the council and they're like, yeah, it's still us. We're the government and we hate you. And it comes up that if you win the homecoming talent show, you
Chad
get to be the
Thunderstroke
president
himself
of the college government.
Oh.
For some reason.
Okay.
They're like, you'll never beat us unless you win the talent show.
All right.
So they're like, hey, I think we should win the talent show.
Oh, fuck.
So now
Figured
it's
it
the
out.
talent show. It's a bunch of events, and then it ends with a talent show.
Yep.
At these Olympic-style events, we see that
the limp-wristed style.
the things that made the nerds socially unacceptable
They're
actually
strong
helped
suits.
them in the various events. So then they have a little fair where
Kudos to Booger for the beer drinking, yo. Definitely, man. I did my share of the beer drinking in my 20s.
the popular kids do a kissing booth, and
Oh,
the
yeah,
nerds are
yeah.
selling pies.
Yeah,
Everyone's
this is where
wearing
it gets a
costumes,
little weird.
And the one popular guy
not
has
the
a
kissing part,
costume
but then
where
it
you could tell they
comes along
wanted to be
afterwards.
Darth Vader, but they couldn't
they
get the
couldn't
rights.
'cause Lucas
So
would
it's
sue
Darth
the
Vader
pants
esque.
off
It's a
of
black
him.
helmet, and they're doing a kissing booth, and the popular girl is like, "Oh, this kissing's making me horny."
Oh, yeah.
Right, so let meet me in the fun house, and we can have sex, popular guy. What? She goes off into the fun house, and then the nerd puts on that guy's helmet. And he also happened to
The old switcheroo. He just happened to be wearing a cape. Imagine that.
have a black cape on.
Sure.
So now she's leading what she thinks is her boyfriend with a mask on into the fun house to have sex.
Uh-oh.
And people have a problem with this scene, but I think that really this is the most responsible part of the movie because they're giving us an important message about mask sex safety. You know what I mean? And I think because a lot of women enjoy mask play.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of women out there
They do.
can only get
Cosplay.
off if they're getting fucked by a guy wearing like a plastic Richard Nixon Halloween face. With S&M,
S&M.
you have safe words.
Right.
So I think with mask sex, you need to have security questions.
Or buzzwords. Or clearance codes.
This is what the movie's saying. I think this is a good idea,
Or
even if it's
launch
not mask sex.
sequences.
If you're just doing doggy style, as soon as you can't see the guy, just pepper him with some questions. Like, you can say, "Ooh, baby, do you like that?" But then throw in, "What's your mother's maiden name?" You know what I mean? As soon as he takes the mask off, she's like surprised for a second, and then she's like, "That's the best sex I've ever had. I'm in love with you."
Oh.
So now we
Must
get
have
to
been
the
packing
big
that
talent
heat.
show. It's a production.
Yes.
Lewis and Gilbert are dressed up like Devo. The Asian guy is dressed up like a Native
Are we
American,
not
and
men?
he's hitting a gong. Like,
Devo.
fucking figure that out. The gay black guy comes out dressed like Michael Jackson, and then the
Point
little
Dexter
kid
was a
comes out
straight-up
dressed like
juggalo,
Michael
too.
Jackson. They tried to warn us, Jordan. They win, and then the movie ends with Gilbert gives a speech, and he's like, "Hey, the jocks want to ruin our
Rocky
lives.
speech.
There's more of us than there are of them. We're all different. None of us fit in. We can't let the beauty."
And yous and hers, and if he's can change, we's yous and alls, and we's and Adrians, and you knows we alls can change. Yo.
Beautiful people push us around. He's like, until the persecution of the nerds stops, none of us are free. But if we free the nerds, we're all free. The dweebs, the fatsos,
The Melvins.
people in bands. If we can accept
Bandorks.
each other, we can create a
And
society
male ass.
based on love.
I'm a
You know, and eventually one day the
aficionados.
world will be safe for
Skaters.
guys who just want to show their dicks to blind people.
Emos. God.
When will the moperists have their day? It's a victimless crime, Jordan. The past was doing its best.
Check him out on YouTube. As always,
Theme song.
Leave them alone.
I'll be getting it in there when I can. Much love.
Leave them alone.
Same pig time, same pig channel. Peace.